Alex Goldschmidt decided he wanted to propose to his boyfriend, Ross Gerard, by listening to King of My Heart by Taylor Swift in the car. But then plans changed, and he had a big surprise.
And so I would like to welcome, and if you would give a warm welcome to my friend Taylor.
Yep, the Taylor Swift showed up with a guitar in hand. Alex emailed the pop superstar asking if she'd play the proposal, and she said yes. The boyfriend said yes. Everyone enjoyed a live performance of King of My Heart with a happy couple and their friends. That's our time for now. Yes. News 3 at 5 starts right now.
Right now at 5, authorities have identified the man killed in a 131 vehicle pileup on Interstate 41 near Neenah. We will hear from an area woman involved in the crash, and a lawsuit filed by the parents of a UW student who died during his study abroad trip in settled. We'll have the very latest. Plus, Governor Evers unveiling his spending plans for higher education. We'll tell you what it includes.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with us. Susan is off today. A 30-year-old man is dead. 71 people are recovering from their injuries after yesterday's crash on I-41 that involved some 131 vehicles. Amanda Quintana talked to two women who were in that crash, and they're feeling very fortunate to get through it unharmed, Amanda.
Yeah, well, that is right. Nicole Adrian and Susan Bruger were in Green Bay celebrating Nicole's birthday. Their trip back to Platteville is when things went terribly wrong. They said the roads were fine until they weren't, and they couldn't see anything just 5 feet in front of them. They were able to pull over when they saw the road was blocked by cars crashed in front of them, but that's when they were hit from behind, pinning them both inside the car. First responders had to use the jaws of life to get them out.
We knew that it was bad. We knew by every car that had hit us and where we were at that my vehicle was not going to look very good. We knew that we were very lucky to be able to walk away. The look on the fireman's face when we crawled out of that car.
They say one of the hardest parts was seeing people get out of their cars and walk around as the crash was still happening. In a press conference today, the Winnebago County Sheriff said they believe the 30-year-old teacher who died exited his car, and this is the largest traffic crash in Wisconsin history. State Patrol says if you're ever involved in a crash, stay in your car and call 911. We will hear more from Susan and Nicole and State Patrol at 6 o'clock.
All right, Amanda, thank you. And let's get a look at your first alert weather now. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joining us from the weather patio. Gary?
Well, things are pretty quiet out here right now. Every once in a while, I see a flake or two of snow come down, and that's pretty much about it. But we are looking for the possibility for some more light snow and some flurries before too long. Let's start out by taking a look at visible cloud track. You can see the clouds coming in from the west, and those are actually starting to thicken up a little bit. And as we check out Doppler track, some light snow pushing through parts of southern Wisconsin. Right now, just a few flurries in the backyard, so it's not really coming down that hard. In fact, as you take a look at the pinpoint visibilities, right now, Prairie to Sheen seeing about a 7-mile visibility. Visibilities around 10 miles elsewhere. We have alert days in the forecast for tomorrow and Wednesday for light snow and flurries. That could lead to some more icy streets tomorrow with temperatures staying on the cold side. And then total snowfall will end up in the 1 to 3 inch range. Low temperatures this morning, very cold. Here in Madison, we're at 0. To our north and west, temperatures were below 0, and wind chills many locations were down to 20 to 25 below 0. High temperatures so far, we've made it to 11 in Madison, and right now we're at 10 degrees. Those temperatures are starting to fall a little bit. By tomorrow, the snowfall through Wednesday, about 1 to 3 inches over much of southern Wisconsin, a little heavier amounts in central Wisconsin. And as we check out our forecast overnight, look for cloudy skies. Again, some snow flurries or light snow showers. Temperatures dropping to around 0 by tomorrow morning with wind chills down to 15 below 0. Tomorrow's high at 18 with light snow continuing through the day. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. This just in from the Channel 3000 Alert Center. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers has announced that he will be withdrawing Wisconsin National Guard troops from the southwest border, saying in a statement, quote, "There is simply not ample evidence to support the president's contention that there exists a national security crisis at our southwestern border. Therefore, there is no justification for the ongoing presence of Wisconsin National Guard personnel at the border. I cannot support keeping our brave servicemen and women away from their families without a clear need or purpose that would actively benefit the people of Wisconsin or our nation. The governor says about 112 soldiers and airmen are currently serving in Arizona, where they've been deployed to assist with border security. The parents of a UW-Madison student who died in Rome studying abroad in 2016 have settled a lawsuit with the overseas university, according to federal documents, and the UW-Madison has made some changes as well. Our Madeline O'Neill joins us now to explain. Maddie?
Eric, the lawsuit claimed John Cabot University officials failed to adequately warn students about the danger of surrounding areas. UW-Madison has since changed its study abroad program, sending students heading to Rome to a nearby university instead. When Bo was 19, he died after a homeless man allegedly pushed him in a river on the first night of his study abroad trip in Rome. I spoke with Bo's high school principal, Darby Blakely, at Spring Green's River Valley High School today, where he says Bo made a big impact. Bo Solomon is remembered as confident, engaging, and always willing to help. Darby says no settlement will ever bring closure, but he makes sure to keep Bo's memory alive. He still thinks of him every day and talks about him with his students and kids.
He's always around, and that's the thing, is his impact was so big. I wish he could, and I hope he can see the impact he made on so many, including our school, but just, you know, around. He was special.
Court documents did not have details on the settlement, and the Solomons attorney says he has no comment at this time. The manslaughter trial against the man accused of pushing Bo into the river seems to be ongoing in Italy, and coming up at 6, we'll have more on what Bo meant to his community. All
right, Maddie O'Neill reporting. Maddie, thank you. Authorities say R. Kelly has posted bail and will be released from a Chicago jail. Kelly posted his $100,000 bail after spending the weekend in jail. He went before a judge in Chicago today. His lawyer entered a not guilty plea to the charges. The R&B star was arraigned on 10 counts of aggravated sexual abuse. A grand jury indicted Kelly, who surrendered to police Friday. The allegations date as far back as 1998 and involve 4 women. 3 were minors at the time.
The years of him preying on young women have gone on for far too long. Robert Sylvester Kelly must be held accountable for the many lives he has ruined. I stand with the victims.
No one has showed us any evidence that he has done anything wrong.
If convicted on all charges, Kelly could face up to 70 years in prison. A North Madison resident was able to stop an early morning intruder who was then arrested. Madison police say a family living in the 3500 block of Ridgeway Avenue was home Saturday morning when 26-year-old Jonathan Wade got into the home. A 39-year-old man armed himself with a kitchen knife, confronted the stranger. The resident did not use the knife on Wade, but punched him several times after pushing him out the front door. Wade was taken into custody without further incident. Officials are looking for an inmate who failed to return to the jail after an approved absence 4 days ago. 39-year-old Jennifer Peterson was serving a 270-day Huber sentence at the Dodge County Jail for a theft conviction. The sheriff's office said Peterson had been allowed to leave the jail for a pre-approved shift at work Thursday, but she didn't return that afternoon as scheduled. Officials say her last known address is in Portage. Peterson was scheduled to be released April 11th. A fire early Monday morning ignited by an oil burner caused more than $1 million in damage to a shed near Watertown. Jefferson County emergency crews were called about 4:20 in the morning about black smoke coming out of the door of a large shed on Froling Lane. The Watertown Fire Department responded, found fire coming through the roof of the 50 by 100-foot building. The fire was caused by an oil burner in that building. Heavy winds and low temperatures were factors in putting out the fire, also causing crews to call in additional crews and personnel. Madison police are investigating 2 reports of shots fired last night on the city's south side. They were called about 8:45 p.m. and then again around 10:30 for reports of shots fired on Sunfish Court. Officers found shell casings the second time they went to the area and are still investigating. No one was injured. There was no property damage. Police ask anyone with information to call Madison Crime Stoppers. Governor Tony Evers is unveiling his spending plans for higher education over the next 2 years. It's all part of his budget proposal, which he will introduce on Thursday. Rose Schmidt joins us to explain how it would affect universities and students across our state. Rose?
That's right. UW System President Ray Cross is applauding Governor Evers today for his investment in higher education. His proposal includes money for a 2% pay increase for faculty and a study to look at ways for students to refinance their loans. But parts of his plan are certain to draw pushback from Republican lawmakers.
It's something you have to accept as a student, is that you're going to be in debt.
If you're a college student like Maggie Godfrey, or you know any students, chances are you've probably heard them talk about financial problems.
That's something that I kind of worry about constantly as a student, is debt, and something that I think we shouldn't have to worry about.
As an in-state student, she's hoping to continue to have her tuition frozen at UW-Madison, something Governor Evers is proposing as part of his 2-year spending plan, along with a $150 million boost in UW system funding.
I think anytime you can lower the cost of higher education, it's probably a good thing.
But Evers' plans for higher ed are already being met with criticism from Republicans, with Representative John Nygren tweeting that Evers continues to make a bipartisan budget nearly impossible. One controversial part of Evers' plan would allow undocumented immigrants from Wisconsin to also get in-state tuition.
There's really nothing that makes us any different than citizens who've lived here their entire lives, and it's, to me at least, it's ridiculous that we have to pay more.
Julio Cesar Gumeta is an organizer for the group Voces de la Frontera and says Evers' proposal would also give students like him more choices in where they get their education.
This would be great for me. I would have the freedom and opportunity to view a lot more schools that I do now.
But there are questions about whether Republican lawmakers would support this part of the plan. Governor Walker previously criticized Evers over the idea, saying Evers, quote, wanted special treatment for illegals. Conservatives are also criticizing Evers' plans to cap the number of students who can enroll in private voucher schools in Wisconsin. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says the plan, quote, would do immense harm to the voucher program and create uncertainty for schools, students, and their families. So definitely something to keep an eye on.
Big week ahead for the governor. Rose Schmidt joining us. Rose, thank you. While Friday and Saturday's warmer temperatures and rain were a preview of the spring weather many of us are looking forward to, that combination also made sidewalks a mess, which can be difficult to clear when they freeze over. The city of Madison does not require ice to be completely removed from our sidewalks, but the ice has to be sanded or salted to prevent it from becoming dangerous to pedestrians.
If you missed your opportunity to clear your sidewalk when we had some warm weather, it's probably too late to clear it, but it's never too late to treat your sidewalk.
Madison provides free sand for residents to use on sidewalks at 14 sites across the city. For more information, you can visit our website, channel3000.com. More to come on News 3 Now at 5. Up next, the president on his way to a second summit now with North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un, what the president's expectations are for that meeting. And the Academy Awards wrapped up last night. We'll tell you who some of the big winners were. And on Wall Street, the Dow starts the week up 60 points. The NASDAQ adds 27, while the S&P 500 posts a 3.5-point gain. We'll be right back. Chinese negotiators have left the U.S. after 4 days of talks with their American counterparts. Both sides say the talks were productive. The president tweeted last night, quote, "The U.S. has made substantial progress in our trade talks with China. As a result of these very productive talks, I will be delaying the U.S. increase in tariffs now scheduled for March 1. President Trump also tweeted he will be inviting Chinese President Xi Jinping to his Mar-a-Lago estate for a signing ceremony if both sides can reach a deal.
We're going to have another summit. We're going to have a signing summit, which is even better. So hopefully we can get that completed, but we're getting very, very close.
Now, the U.S. has already implemented $250 billion worth of tariffs on Chinese goods. China responded with $110 billion worth of tariffs on American products. Meanwhile, the president has embarked on a trip to Hanoi, Vietnam for a second sit-down with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The president says the goal of the summit is to work towards the denuclearization of North Korea. While the North Koreans have not conducted a missile test for the past 400 days, Trump administration officials say getting North Korea to give up its nuclear program will be a slow process. The summit between President Trump and the North Korean leader is expected to last 1 or 2 days. And Vice President Mike Pence met with Latin American leaders in Colombia today to discuss the ongoing political crisis in Venezuela. Pence met with opposition leader Juan Guaido, who declared himself Venezuela's interim president last month. The two leaders delivered humanitarian aid to Venezuelans who have fled to Colombia. Pence said the U.S. wants a peaceful transition to democracy in Venezuela, but that all options are on the table to force President Maduro to step down. Victims are expressing disappointment after Pope Francis wrapped up a Vatican summit focused on ending clergy sex abuse. Pope Francis vowed to confront abusers with the wrath of God as he ended his landmark Vatican summit. He offered 8 best practices to use as guidelines and says the Vatican is developing legislation for the church, ideas like training in seminaries, supporting victims. But survivors of the abuse say the Pope didn't do enough, especially when it comes to punishing bishops.
I would like to say that it's a start, but unless he starts removing bishops who egregiously covered up these crimes, he's not leading by example.
U.S. bishops will gather in June for an annual meeting where they will consider proposals on how to move forward and deal with the abuse. In a year where Black Panther and Roma both could have made history by winning the Best Picture Oscar, the Motion Picture Academy decided to give the top prize to a more traditional film. The interracial road movie Green Book, about a real-life pianist, Dr. Don Shirley, won the Best Picture Oscar. In an upset, the favorites Olivia Colman won Best Actress, beating Glenn Close. Rami Malek took home Best Actor for his portrayal of late Queen frontman Freddie Mercury. Black Panther made history. Costume designer Ruth Carter and production designer Hannah Beachler became the first black women to win in their categories. And Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper performed their Oscar-winning original song, Shallow, from A Star Is Born. Well, nominated for Best Performance during a miserable winter, Gary Canalti joins us now with our first alert forecast. Gary?
That's the only award I'm going to win at this time. I tell you, the temperature is stay below normal. We get more snow. We get more ice. It just doesn't seem to want to end. But we have alert days in the forecast for tomorrow and for Wednesday for some light snow and flurries. Now, it's not going to be very much, probably an inch or two of accumulation through tomorrow night, but it'll remain very cold. That means salt really has a hard time working on the icy conditions like this, so icy streets will continue getting some fresh snow on top of the ice. And then Wednesday, additional light snow and flurries could also be mixed with some freezing drizzle beginning tomorrow night and lasting through Wednesday before it comes to an end. Total snowfall through Wednesday, probably in the 1 to 3 inch range. The heaviest amounts, perhaps north of the Dells, might be a couple of isolated 3 or 4 inch amounts there. Right now, we've had some snow showers and flurries move through. Just had a few flurries in the backyard just a few minutes ago, but you can see out to the west there's a little bit of a break, but we'll see this off and on for about the next 48 hours or so. Right now, winter weather advisories in effect up toward the Eau Claire area, back into parts of North Dakota. The snowfall not expected to be particularly heavy, probably about a 2 to 4 or 5 inch band running through the Twin Cities, Eau Claire, then maybe to Green Bay and into across Lake Michigan into lower Michigan. Much of southern Wisconsin about a 1 to 3 inch amount, 3 inch amounts probably up toward the Dells, and then farther to the south, less than an inch over parts of northern Illinois. But another storm system in the late Friday afternoon, Friday night time frame into early Saturday. This is from the GFS computer models showing about another 2 to 5 inch snowfall at that time, but it'll be accompanied by very strong winds on the backside, and that could lead to some slowing and blowing and drifting snow Saturday morning, along with tumbling temperatures. Live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville, just cloudy and gray as the WISC Skycam looking off toward the east shows, and the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing mostly cloudy skies. This morning's low temperature dropped all the way to 0, and the high temperature so far 11. You can see we're still not close to that record low of 15 below 0 set back in 1967, but that's almost 20 degrees below normal, at least as far as our temperatures are concerned. Right now we're 10, skies mostly cloudy, winds out of the north-northwest at 5, drop our wind chill to 2 degrees. You can see this very strong jet stream pattern. We've been showing this over and over again because it's pretty much locked in the same position. Bitterly cold air up to the north, milder conditions to the south, and this energetic jet stream moving right across the Midwest, bringing these weather systems one right after another with usually a little bit of a break in between them. But the next one is just kind of strung out. You can see the clouds going all the way back into the Dakotas. The main area of low pressure is actually down into the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. Fortunately, this storm system will be a weak one as it moves eastward. A lot of cold air in place north of the storm, single digits to teens for temperatures. On the other side of a warm front, where there's little or no snow cover, temperatures are near 60 in southern Kansas. Look at the difference here. Dodge City, Kansas, 20. Wichita, almost at 60. And on future track, you can see these little impulses coming through with lots of clouds, periodic chances for some light snow showers or flurries, and that will continue off and on for the next couple of days. So our forecast calls for a low temperature of 0 by tomorrow morning with wind chills down to 15 below 0 at times. It'll be bitterly cold with light snow or flurries. Tomorrow's high temperature getting up to a balmy 18 degrees with light snow, especially in the afternoon. That's when the better chances for snow will start to come in. So on future track, lots of clouds, some snow showers or flurries overnight into tomorrow. But you can see by tomorrow afternoon, a little better chances for snow start to move in. That will continue into Wednesday. Again, there could be some freezing drizzle mixed in as well. Temperatures on Wednesday will eventually top out in the middle 20s. Snowfall amounts about 1 to 3 inches, maybe some 4-inch amounts north of the Dells. But as we take a look at the 10-day forecast, you'll see those temperatures remain below normal. Average high temperatures in the mid-30s. We're talking temperatures only in the teens and 20s. Nighttime low temperatures below 0 after that storm moves through this weekend, and it'll stay cold through much of next week. As far as first alert traffic is concerned, right now it's actually pretty good on the Beltline. I was just taking a look at some of the traffic there. This is the live view from the DOT camera and at Verona Road, and you can see traffic moving very steadily in both directions. Seeing a little bit of red between Park Street and, say, Monona Drive on the eastbound direction there. But as far as travel times are concerned, only 18 minutes eastbound on the Beltline from University Avenue to the interstate, 15 minutes back in the westbound direction. Heading out of Madison, the usual 27 minutes down to Janesville on I-3990, 16 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and a quick 16 minutes to Sun Prairie on East Washington Avenue, US 151. That is your News 3 Now First Alert Traffic.
Gary, thank you. Ahead on News 3 Now at 5, how a civics education is getting students ready to become voters. That story after a short break. A staggeringly low number of U.S. students test proficient on American national government exams, prompting calls for a revival in civics education. With record youth voter turnout in the 2018 midterm elections, many hope that enthusiasm could translate to the classroom and then back to the voting booth. Mola Lengi reports from civics class in Woodbridge, Virginia.
It can be hard to see how a textbook lesson can be useful outside the classroom, but high school senior Gabby Troya seems to have it figured out.
If you didn't vote this election, you'll be voting next election.
November's midterm elections brought the lesson to life.
That contributed to people being more excited to start learning.
It's teacher Sarah Rowland's job to get the students engaged.
The best way to do that is to relate it to their own lives, how government officials can directly influence them, but also how they can reach out.
While that's happening in the AP Civics class at Woodbridge High in Northern Virginia, it's not happening in a lot of other places.
What is the state of civics education today?
Well, we're in deep trouble.
A recent survey by the Annenberg Public Policy Center found only 23% of 8th graders tested at or above the proficient level on national government exams. Only 9 states require 1 year of civics education. 31 require only half a year, and 10 states have no civics requirement.
We completely ignored the kind of fundamental purpose of public education, which was to prepare people to be citizens in a democracy.
Rock the Vote launched a curriculum to help students do just that. In democracy class, students learn their role as citizens, then register to vote.
What we know is voting is habit forming, and so what we're doing is creating a generation of voters who will be more likely to turn out in future elections.
Civics is Gabby Troya's favorite class.
A lot of people would still think that it's boring.
But not the young people getting involved in movements like March for Our Lives, Me Too, and Never Again, graduating from engaged students to engaged citizens. Mola Lengi, CBS News, Woodbridge, Virginia.
The decline in civics knowledge prompted members of Congress to introduce bipartisan legislation last month. It would give $30 million to civics learning projects. We'll have another Check Your Forecast in just a moment. Stay with us.
Here's a look at some of the stories we're working on. What does the U.S. want to accomplish at the president's summit with the leader of North Korea? We're reporting from Hanoi. Plus, Vice President Pence announces new sanctions to pressure Venezuela's leader. And setting records and stirring controversy at the Oscars. Tonight on the CBS Evening News.
And Gary rejoined us. Final look at the forecast.
Some flurries out there, really not much going on right now, but we'll see them off and on. And then some periods of light snow as well. Temperatures are on the cold side. We're already at 10. We'll drop down to around 0 by tomorrow morning. Snowfall amounts, this is all the way through Wednesday, about a 1 to 3 inch snowfall. But the roads will be slippery because of the ice out there, and temperatures are going to stay cold all the way through next week as well.
All right, we'll be back with more updates in 30 minutes on News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned for the CBS Evening News.